Of someone by the name of Wade Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know Wade Wilson?
He's my son.
How old were you when you found out you were going to be his father?
14 or 15.
How old was his mother at the time?
A year younger than me.
Now, were either of you in a position at that age to be able to raise him?
No, ma'am.
Was he placed up for adoption?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was he adopted by?
Candy and Steve Wilson.
And did they have any connection to you or Wade Wilson's mother?
You mean?
Like how did they?
Oh,
How were they known?
they went to church with Wade's mother's parents.
So that was how they connected and ended up raising Wade Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do they have any other children?
Yes, ma'am. 2 daughters.
And have you spoken with them on numerous occasions?
I've spoken with Candy.
And that's his adoptive mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at some point, did you and Wade Wilson connect?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was Wade Wilson when he connected with you?
18.
And was he wanting to connect with you because you were his biological father?
Yes.
And up until that point, had you ever met him?
No, ma'am.
Did you end up attempting to have a relationship with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he seem to want to have a relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you have phone calls often?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have occasions where you would see each other?
No. I went up and visited him one time in Tallahassee.
Okay. Now, did he often ask you for money?
Yes, ma'am.
Did your relationship turn into a situation where he was just asking for your help?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to turn your attention to Monday, October 7th of 2019. Did Wade Wilson get in touch with you through phone call that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was it that he told you when he called?
The first time he said he needed help. He had done something that he couldn't take back.
Did he indicate that he and his girl had gotten into an argument?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was his girl that you were aware of at the time?
I just knew her as Mila.
And did it seem that he wanted your help because of this argument?
Yes, ma'am.
When he called you, were you actually at work?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to really give your attention and time to him to try to help him at that point?
No, ma'am.
So what did you tell him when he was asking for your help?
I just told him to call me back around dinner time. I'd be done working and we'd figure it out.
And did you at some point have a conversation with your wife about him getting in touch with you wanting your help?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, during the time that he was supposed to call, about what time was he supposed to call back?
I told him around dinner time.
Now, between the time he first called that day and dinner time, did you receive a call from a detective?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that detective looking for your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when the detective was looking for your son, did you have any idea at that point of what had happened?
No, ma'am.
Did the detective want you to try to help them get in touch with your son?
She just gave me a number and said if he calls you back, we need to talk to him.
Okay. Now, did he end up calling you later that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he tell you in that call that evening?
The final call?
Nope, the call before the final call.
He just told me, he did something. There was 2 people gone that would not be back. He said, I'm a killer. I just told him to call me back. I just thought it was another story,
So at this point, when he says that there were 2 people that wouldn't be with us and that he was a killer, did you put a lot of weight into that?
No, ma'am.
Did you think he was just telling you a story?
He's a good storyteller.
So did he then call you back a third time?
Yes, ma'am.
What time did he call you back?
It was around 10 o'clock.
I want to go back to that dinner time call. When he talked about these two people who were no longer with us and that he was a killer, did he show any type of remorse?
No, ma'am.
So let's go now to the 10 o'clock call. Again, your wife knew about kind of what was going on during that day.
Yes, ma'am.
And when he called back at 10, did he go into more details about what he had told you earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's start with the first girl. If you could tell the jurors, what did he tell you?
He just said he met a girl at a bar. They went back to her house, hung out for a little bit, and then she fell asleep.
What did he say happened after she fell asleep?
He said he got on top of her and choked her.
What name did he call her? Did he refer to her in a derogatory term?
He said, I choked that bitch.
And what did he say he did after he choked her?
He said he stayed in the house for a little while, and then he rolled her up and was going to try to put her in her trunk, but he couldn't lift her.
Did he say why he was unable to put her in her trunk?
He said that he felt like rigor mortis had started to set in.
And does rigor mortis make your body stiff? You didn't know?
I think so.
So he just told you that that was the reason that he couldn't lift her and get her into her trunk?
Yes, ma'am.